Hundreds of highly anticipated games are now behind us, but there are even more to come. If 2024 felt like a bit of a lull, then good news. There are big-name sequels, blockbusters, brand new IPs, and much more to look forward to. With so many top-tier offerings, narrowing them down is a challenge. But without further ado, here are our 30 most anticipated games in 2025 and beyond. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Years of no information, a reboot in development at Retro Studios, and long-awaited gameplay finally confirmed that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is indeed on the way. Arriving for Nintendo Switch, it features space pirates, Samus's rival Sylux, and the Morph Ball. Even with so much hype around the Switch's successor, if any Nintendo title deserves a closer look, it's definitely the next Metroid Prime. Pokémon Legends Z and A. Of course, there's the other big Nintendo sequel that tens of millions won't be able to ignore, Pokémon Legends Z to A. A follow-up to Arceus is already intriguing, but taking place within Lumio City in the Kalos region from Pokémon X and Y is even more exciting. Launching for Nintendo Switch systems, which all but officially confirms it's coming to Nintendo's new console, Pokémon Legends Z to A is already super hyped. South of Midnight. Compulsion Games' last project was in 2018 with We Happy Few, and after a long wait, its next project is finally upon us with South of Midnight on Xbox Series X and S and PC. It stars Hazel, a weaver on the quest to restore the Grand Tapestry after the devastation of her hometown, inspired by Southern folklore and presenting an unorthodox aesthetic, especially in the cutscenes which use stop motion. South of Midnight could be an underdog among all the other action-adventure titles. Sniper Elite Resistance. If you're expecting more out of a Sniper Elite sequel than another tour of World War II or more Nazis to slay in bombastic ways, prepare for disappointment. However, Resistance takes a somewhat different approach, featuring SOE agent Harry Hawker as the protagonist. There are also new propaganda missions where you control other Resistance fighters to complete objectives in a limited time frame. Of course, the appeal of the series, sniping, brutal X-ray kills, and stealth, remains, and that's all we can ask. Sniper Elite Resistance will be available for Xbox Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC, and Xbox One. Assassin's Creed Shadows. Assassin's Creed Shadows, to put it lightly, has had one stumble to another ahead of its launch. Yet the delay may have done wonders because recent stealth and combat gameplay looks solid. The post-Sengoku Japan setting, season, and how they interact with the Wanted system, contrasting playstyles, and world design could be the win it desperately need. The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2. After The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak established a new setting, heroes, storyline, combat system, and engine, what does the sequel offer? For starters, a new mystery surrounding a red Grendel and the chapter approach from Trails to Reverie, each playable in your own desired order and featuring unique characters and mechanics. Launching for PS4, PS5, PC, and Nintendo Switch, Trails Through Daybreak 2 promises another epic adventure spanning dozens of hours. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Goro Majima is a pirate, sailing the waters around Hawaii with his own ship, building up a crew and raiding other pirates with dual cutlass and pistols. That's it. That's the pitch. If you need anything more, several side activities and play spots from Infinite Wealth return while the Pirates Coliseum promises chaotic ship battles. Monster Hunter Wilds. Monster Hunter Rise has its fans, but for many, Monster Hunter Wilds feels like the follow-up that World should have received. It offers massive new environments with herds, dynamic ecosystems that significantly alter the lay of the land, brand new monsters, and quality of life improvements like switching to a second weapon while out in the field. Some visual glitches from the beta still need to be worked out, but Wilds will very likely be the quintessential hunting experience for many in the years to come. Hell is Us. Rogue Factor's upcoming action-adventure title for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC is an intriguing mix of the real world and the supernatural. You'll hack and slash with all kinds of weapons as Remy, who's desperately searching for his parents after a mysterious calamity unleashes monstrous beings. However, you also have a drone to provide support, and the world design is decidedly more grounded, right down to its dungeons. Suffice it to say, we're intrigued. Split Fiction. Hazelight Studios finally revealed its next co-op game, Split Fiction, and spoiler, it looks pretty good. As writers Zoe and Mio, players jump back and forth between fantasy and sci-fi worlds to ultimately escape a simulator. So naturally that means hatching and raising dragons, donning exosuits that deal massive damage. The Friends Pass still applies, meaning you'll only need one copy to play with a friend. But thus far, Split Fiction may just be another winner from Hazelight. Borderlands 4. Vault Hunter designs aside, Borderlands 4 looks to be yet another rip-roaring, loot-filled shooter experience with great-looking enemies and new locales to explore. It even features seamless travel and the ability to summon your vehicle anywhere. Rest in peace, Catch a Ride Station. Perhaps best of all, it seems that Gearbox is toning down the awful humor that did not work in Borderlands 3. That automatically raises its stock. Atomfall. If we could describe Atomfall, it would be Fallout through the lens of Sniper Elite developer Rebellion, with a dollop of Stalker thrown in for good mix. As an amnesiac individual arriving in a town under control by the Protocol following the Windscale fire incident, you have to deal with mysterious NPCs, fulfill requests, dig around Bard's old labs, and more to find out what's going on. Alternatively, kill everyone. It's your choice. The First Berserker Kazan. One of my most anticipated action RPGs, The First Berserker Kazan takes the sleek visuals of Dungeon and Fighter and pairs it with the fast-paced brutal combat. Revenge is the goal, as Kazan ventures across the Pelos Empire, taking on all kinds of monsters while struggling with the Blade Phantom within. If the beta is any indication, the full game should offer a challenging good time for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC players. Killing Floor 3. Killing Floor is making a comeback and gunning for the co-op shooter crown with revamped Zeds possessing smarter AI, more visceral gore, and an impressive arsenal of weapons with extensive customization. Choose from multiple specialists, each with extensive skill trees, and either go it alone or partake in a 6-player chaos, fighting off hordes of Zeds with crossplay support. Mafia: The Old Country. Though it's a sequel to the first Mafia game, The Old Country is aiming for the same structure, mostly linear but plenty to discover off the beaten path. Play as Enzo Favara, join Don Torrisi's family, and partake in all kinds of crimes in 1900s Sicily. Horse riding, knife fights, and more await with stunning visuals, but if its narrative is anything like the previous titles, it could be an offer we can't refuse. Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. Just when a sequel seemed impossible, SNK will finally follow up on Garo: Mark of the Wolves, transitioning from a 2D to 3D graphical style in Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves. Legendary fighters like Rock Howard, Terry Bogard, Hotaru Futaba, and more return, but they're also joined by newcomers like Preacha and Vox Reaper. All the essentials from Garo, including the SPG gauge, return, but the REV system is brand new, innovating on defense, cancels, and specials. Best of all, Episodes of Southtown offers an extensive new single-player mode with all kinds of fighters to challenge. Death Stranding 2: On the Beach. Death Stranding 2 offers a new journey outside of the United Cities of America as part of the drawbridge traversing through the tar with the DHV Magellan, along with old friends and new. Fragile and Hartman return, but players will also work alongside Rainy, Dollman, Tarman, and Tomorrow, with Higgs once again popping up to cause mayhem and real-time terrain changes. Death Stranding 2: On the Beach looks to one-up the original in every single way. Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is, for all intents and purposes, a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. However, it takes place about 329 years later with a brand new setting in Hokkaido, and a new protagonist, Atsu, who assumes the Ghost moniker. Given the period, we're intrigued at how the story could play out, especially with the increased narrative control, but more than anything else, we're keen to dive into this brand new gorgeous world, wielding dual swords and using firearms to take down enemies. Metal Gear Solid Delta: Snake Eater. Spare a thought for fans still waiting for Metal Gear Solid Delta: Snake Eater, but with the game playable from start to finish, they may not have to wait much longer. As a remake of the 2004 classic, Delta: Snake Eater is doing everything right, from its visuals and new control scheme to new voice recordings featuring the classic cast. The wait may be long, but if the gameplay is anything to go by, it's sure to be worth it. Little Nightmares 3. Supermassive has some pretty big shoes to fill with Little Nightmares 3, a follow-up to Tarsier's critically acclaimed horror side-scrollers. Thus far, it's nailed the aesthetic, the creepy atmosphere, and level design, and with co-op introduced, you have to wonder where the narrative could take protagonists low and alone. Either way, it should be a dark adventure that lives up to the series. Doom: The Dark Ages. A new Doom game, especially a prequel which follows the Slayer during his medieval days, isn't a tough proposition. However, id Software is going all out with Doom: The Dark Ages, offering new weapons including the Shield Saw, which doubles up as a buzzsaw, enemies, a giant mech, and even a flying mount, promising slower, heavier action with more projectile dodging. It looks to be the perfect contrast to Doom Eternal. Jurassic Park Survival. Announcement of an Alien Isolation sequel notwithstanding, it's interesting that Jurassic Park Survival, inspired by Creative Assembly's horror game, would fly under the radar after its announcement. Developed by Saber Interactive for Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC, the first-person title occurs one day after the first movie's events and focuses on Dr. Maya Joshi as she attempts to escape. You know what that means: sneaking, outwitting, and escaping from dinosaurs, all for the sake of survival. And based on visuals alone, it's looking fantastic. The Witcher 4. At long last, Ciri has returned, and she's now a full-fledged Witcher, doing exactly what Geralt would, killing monsters. Though we've only glimpsed a cinematic trailer, The Witcher 4 promises new regions and enemy types alongside much greater player agency and choices compared to The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. If that wasn't enough, Geralt also returns with actor Doug Cockle reprising the role. Elden Ring Night Rain. Leveraging Elden Ring's Limgrave, touted as a parallel version called Limveld, Night Rain lets you fight alone or with up to 2 other players with 8 playable characters, discover powerful weapons and runes, level up as the night closes in and a powerful boss appears. Keep going until the Night Lord is defeated. Sounds easy enough, but based on all of the threats we saw in its debut trailer, including the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3, it could be another challenging yet fulfilling experience. Dying Light: The Beast. With how disappointing Dying Light 2's Bloody Ties DLC turned out to be, it's nice to Techland to pivot and turn the second DLC into a standalone title that brings back Kyle Crane. Though surviving the events of the following, Kyle was imprisoned for a decade. Now free and armed with powerful zombie-like powers, you'll explore Castor Woods, a new open world teeming with the undead. Vehicles and parkour return, but the same rules apply. Stay out after dark, and it's a fight for your life. Crimson Desert. Pearl Abyss has showcased tons of new gameplay for Crimson Desert, highlighting the impressive boss fights, the combat, and visual splendor. Coming to Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC, the latest trailer has fed into the hype even more with its lush open world boasting mysterious ruins, floating isles, and even dragons as mounts. There's a lot to take in, but we're just waiting to dive in and explore it all firsthand. Grand Theft Auto 6. When industry analysts expect it to contribute to a turnaround in the games industry and it wins the most anticipated game, Grand Theft Auto 6 is a given for this list. And there's every reason why. Modern-day Vice City, larger crowds, and more attention to detail than previous titles, the expected insanity steeped in reality. Rockstar's next open-world masterpiece looks to offer all and much more when it launches on Xbox Series X and S and PS5. Phantom Blade Zero. Don't let the 2-button combo system dissuade you from Phantom Blade Zero, S-Game's upcoming action RPG for PS5 and PC. Based on gameplay thus far, there are some incredibly challenging boss fights, while deflecting and breaking enemies to deal massive damage looks tight and responsive. The mix of steampunk and martial arts and the promise of a 30 to 40 main story also sounds excellent. Now, if we only could get our hands on a demo. Fable. When Lionhead Studios was still around and helmed the Fable series, the results ranged from legendary to mixed. The concept has transformed somewhat under Playground Games with a more realistic visual style and seemingly reinterpreting classic Fables. Given the studio's expertise in open worlds, Fable could offer a stellar RPG experience for Xbox Series X and S and PC players.
All the wrong choices.
Humphrey. She's back.
Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra. With how poorly handled Marvel's Avengers turned out, there's significantly more hope for Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra. Not only is it helmed by Uncharted creator Amy Hennig and developed on Unreal Engine 5, but it's set in Paris during World War II, with heroes like Black Panther and Captain, alongside lesser-known heroes like Nanali and Gabriel Jones. Action-adventure games are Hennig's bread and butter, so you can bet that Marvel 1943 will be something special. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.